Tournament organizing is not easy. Between building a brand, marketing, securing a venue, finding open time in the calendar, not to mention the massive potential cash loss, and, actually getting people to come, it's no wonder why many people are scared away by the prospect of event planning. But for the few of us who love a good challenge or have the disposable income to give it a go, please join my Patreon. Running one of the world's biggest Smash tournaments can actually be kind of fun. This is Toronto Joe. He's a tournament organizer from, Toronto, Canada, and one day he decided he wanted to take on that challenge for himself. Running a tournament was already difficult enough for the aforementioned reasons, but Joe had another, much more global challenge in front of him. He had to get gamers to travel internationally. This is the story of the Get On My Level tournament series, its humble beginnings, and how the largest esports tournament series in Canada is now celebrating its 10th annual installment. But first, I want to thank my good friends at Into the AM for sponsoring today's video. Into the AM has just launched their spring collection with relaxed button-ups and the daily shorts, and they're a great combination for a go-to everyday warm weather outfit. They're honestly really stylish, and I just ordered a couple of items for myself to wear, but you guys already know that Into the AM is pretty much the only thing I wear now, so, yeah, if you're in the market for a wardrobe upgrade, Into the AM has got you covered, literally. I have officially passed one full calendar year partnering with them, which is crazy that I've somehow been able to maintain a sponsor for that long. Anyway, you won't want to miss out on grabbing some of the spring collection during their upcoming Memorial Day weekend sale. From May 17th to May 29th, Into the AM will be giving a 30% site-wide discount on top of an additional 10% off if you use my code WALT or click the link in the description. And with transparency, as always, that's an affiliate link, so every order not only helps me to continue partnering with Into the AM for years to come, but it also affords me a small commission. Thank you again to Into the AM for supporting the channel. Now kick back, relax, and enjoy the complete history of Get On My Level.
So my name is Joseph Kabari, gamer tag is Toronto Joe. I'm the co-founder and owner of Even Matchup Gaming in GOML, and I've been in the community since 2012.
Our story begins around the beginning of 2014, as Solid Jake, the head of Smash events for Major League Gaming, reached out to T.O. Joe to see if Toronto could host a major tournament. The largest event Joe had held prior was around the size of a local to regional level with under 100 people, so to potentially have a Canadian MLG qualifier was a huge opportunity to put the country on the map for competitive Melee.
The first GOML actually just happened by a stroke of luck. Solid Jake had reached out to me through Facebook and just said, hey, do you think you could do a major in Toronto? At the time, we had been running, locals and regionals through Even Matchup Gaming, and I think the biggest tournament we did was maybe 80, 90 people. And I didn't know the first thing about running a major or what it entailed, but I knew the opportunity was way too crazy to be part of the MLG grassroots circuit at the time, so I just said, you know what, yeah, I can fucking do this.
Joe invited me to a regional he was hosting in 2012, and we were acquaintances online, but then I showed up and, he showed me great hospitality, we had a lot in common, we just clicked as people, and we're, pretty much the same age and all that stuff, so we just really hit it off, and I came up to Canada 2 or 3 more times during Brawl, and when GOML came around, it was yo, I have to have you there, I want you to commentate, I want you to help out, just support me as a homie, I'll get you and the boys some Megabus tickets, and let's run this.
When MLG comes knocking to you in 2014, that was literally Jesus Christ is talking to you about an opportunity. So even though we were quite green and a very new organization, and didn't really know the first thing when it came to hosting a major at the time, I knew that I couldn't pass up the opportunity and that we'd figure it out.
And just like that, Get On My Level was born. Announced on March 14th, Joe took full advantage of the opportunity, hosting GOML at York University where Joe went to school.
In 2014, it was literally free registration if you pre-regged online. We were doing registration at the door, we were seating at the door, we were making pools in Microsoft Excel because there wasn't a Start GG platform, there wasn't a tournament operation platform to make it all turnkey.
And on May 10th, 2014, the doors to the Founders Assembly Hall opened for what would eventually become Canada's biggest tournament series. GOML 2014 was sponsored by Major League Gaming thanks to that message from Solid Jake, and it served as a qualifier for MLG Anaheim happening in June of that year. Having their inaugural tournament exist in tandem with an MLG grassroots circuit qualifier was certainly a boom, as the event was able to reach 238 entrants for Melee, which was honestly quite solid for 2014. The name recognition of MLG was also an important distinction to have back in the day, as Major League Gaming had a lot of history and street cred in Smash, which was a big deal. The only other major level events that had happened before Get On My Level this year were Apex 2014, which was a bit of a giant in the scene until its collapse in 2015, and Revival of Melee 7, so calendar-wise this event was also positioned very well. Even the perceived difficulty of getting players out to Canada seemed not too bad by the numbers, but Joe himself acknowledges this is still one of the biggest challenges facing this series to this day.
To this day, I still feel like the underdog in the industry, just by proxy of the fact that people need passports in order to come to the event. I think I've always had that chip on my shoulder and just that hunger to show that even, with the chip stacked against us, not only can we do events that are as good, but in my opinion, better. And even now, Americans kind of treat Canada as just like, little bro, like, America's hat. Like imagine in 2014, kind of the battles we were fighting and the uphill, struggle that we were against. So the fact that we were able to have MLG kind of help bootstrap it, that was huge for being able to just kind of get our foot in the door and be able to prove ourselves. Because I think had we not had that qualifier status, it would have been really hard to convince Mango, HBox, and everybody to make the trip. Because like I said, everything was just centralized in the US. The entire community revolved around the US, all the narratives, all the media. And even to this day, I think a lot of it is, biased around the US, quite honestly.
With pools made on Excel spreadsheets the day of, matches were exported to Challenge as StartJG didn't even exist yet, and we were ready to go. Of those 238 players attending, 3 of the soon-to-be 5 gods came through. Mango, Mewtwo King, and Hungrybox, the 1st, 3rd, and 5th best players in the world in 2013. GOML was also Mango's first tournament as a member of the esports team Cloud9, having been picked up by the organization just 4 days before the tournament. In the doubles bracket, you had 2 clear favorites to meet up in grand finals. One of the best teams in the world, Hungrybox and Mewtwo King, and then Mango and... wait, what? Toph? Yeah, Toph, the commentator you've probably heard at least once over the years if you watched any Smash before, was actually a top 100 player back in 2013, and he was really good. He and Mango actually reset the bracket in one of the craziest doubles upsets ever before they eventually fell in a Game 10 Grand Finals.
Hungrybox has 147. All Mewtwo King needs to do, or Mango needs to do, is get a back air on him.
Oh, looking for the Dynasty, but he gets the rest. And there it is, GG. Hungrybox and Mewtwo King taking melee doubles here at Get On My Level. Let's go.
As for the singles bracket, Mango took that new C9 sponsorship momentum and ran with it, not dropping a single game on his path to Grand Finals on the winner's side. Meeting him there was actually Hungrybox though, who had lost to M2K on the winner's side in a close 3-2 set, then advanced to Grands after a 3-2 run back against Mewtwo King. Also nestling in at 4th place though was Kirby Kaze, representing Even Matchup Gaming, the team that was putting on this first GOML, as well as the highest ranked Canadian player in the world, coming in at number 9 on SSBM Rank 2013. But back to Grands, this was honestly a bad draw for Hungrybox. 2013 Mango was already regarded as the best in the world in that time, but in this specific head-to-head, he really had HBox's number. In 2013, Mango only dropped a single set to HBox at NorCal Regionals 2013 after he was initially reset in that bracket off the back of a 3-0. And up until GOML, Mango went lossless against Hungrybox as well at the 2 big majors of the year, Apex 2014 and ROM 7. In fact, Mango hadn't even dropped a game to HBox since Zenith 2013. This set was a pretty unique shift from the Mango trend that had been happening over the last year or so, where HBox was able to bring it all the way to a Game 5 to potentially reset. He went down 4 stocks to 1 in the final game and actually almost brought it all the way back, but he just didn't have enough runway. Mango clutched out that final stock, shut down the reverse 4 stock, and ended the tournament right there. This would be a back-to-back major win for Mango with his gold medal at ROM 7 just a couple months before, but GOML would be his first major tournament victory with that shiny and new C9 sponsor.
He's not going to be able to take one more of those back airs though. Nice.
Oh,
and Mango clutches it out after all.
Cloud9 Mango.
He was, man, that was almost such a terrifying situation.
So terrifying. Good stuff to both players.
Yeah.
Mango takes 1st place. Curse Hungrybox takes 2nd
place, yeah.
And CTEMP's Mewtwo King takes 3rd.
Yeah, with Kirby Kaze in 4th.
4th.
Representing EMG.
Yep.
Solid stuff to all of those players, and good stuff to Mango taking a tournament win over some really, really tough competition.
I'm pretty happy to win this tournament mostly because it was my first time as Cloud9.
As for MLG Anaheim, Mango qualified by winning this GOML, while M2K and HBox were already in from winning their own respective events. Also, for what it's worth, M2K had a hilariously high number of qualifier points due to him just going to, like, everything. But like I said before, the opportunity cost for GOML to serve as the Canadian qualifier for MLG Anaheim was huge. And Joe and the Even Matchup Gaming team might have not known it, but this was about to be the first stepping stone on a crazy journey to building out one of Canada's biggest event series.
I didn't really feel any pressure going into 2014. I just wanted to make the best event possible. Our motivation was always to showcase that love and that passion, and I think we did a pretty good job with 2014, all things considered. But we knew that after that first one, like, we could only go further and go higher from there. The philosophy and the motto behind our team was always just make it better than the last one.
With the first GOML in the books as a relative success, the challenge now appeared to be in recreating that success for a sequel event. Fortunately, the GOML team were able to leverage the new release of Smash for Wii U to host its second iteration of the Get On My Level tournament series, replacing Brawl in their lineup for the new title, and once again returning to the Founders Assembly Hall at York University. May 30th to 31st would present Get On My Level 2015. This year's GOML was originally a part of Most Valuable Gaming's tournament circuit, but EMG pulled out after some issues present at a previous MVG event called MVG Sandstorm. My bad, the power went out. Regardless though, GOML 2015 did not suffer from any sequelitis, becoming the at the time largest tournament in Canada with 386 unique entrants. The Melee side brought in roughly the same number of attendees as 2014, but was admittedly a bit less heavy on the top end.
The requirement of a passport for most of the community to interact with the event has been a setback, including with top players. Like Mango had to miss a couple because he needed to renew his passport.
Hungrybox made his return to the 6, still maintaining his annual ranking at number 5, and the next best player in attendance was Hax, then ranked number 8 in the world. These two naturally made it to grand finals, but forget about them for just a second, we'll get back to that soon. This is Sauce, and he went insane at this tournament. A Falco and Link co-main from Ottawa, he was number 1 on the Ottawa Power Rankings back in fall of 2014, and he had already taken sets off of high-level Canadian players like Kage, which, like, that's topical. Anyway, between those two and Kirby Kaze, these three players created a so-called Triforce of Canada, which had already generated some hype for the region. KK was a top 10 player, Kage was ranked 45, and no one knew what to expect from this brand new Link player on the streets. Sauce's GOML run was very solid though, winning out in his round 1 pools before barely losing to global rank 40 Kalamazoo 2-1. In the losers bracket though, he would make a huge upset over a then ranked number 30 player in the world before being eliminated at 13th by Sauce. Wait, what? Oh yeah, there was another Sauce at this tournament, but his tag was spelled like this and he ended up getting 7th here. And Sauce ended up playing each other. That's not confusing at all.
But wow, we are right into it, and Sauce, I'm just gonna, Sauce, who is Fox, I will be referring to as Curtis from now on.
Okay.
Curtis is going all in on Sauce, the Link main from Ottawa.
Another important mention falling in at 9th place here was Edgar Nunn Shellaby, a Captain Falcon main from Toronto who had just started entering major tournaments at the Big House 4 at the end of 2014. He ended up being taken out by Sauce with the 3 as well, but this GOML would be the start of something very magical for him. Kirby Kaze was once again the top 10 representative of Canada, getting a 3rd place here, making him the highest placing Canadian at a main series GOML, but the highlight of his weekend was the near JV5 he had almost gotten against Kalamazoo. Now, if you don't know what that is, you might be tempted to think the JV stands for something. No, it's not junior varsity, but instead, this is an old bit of Melee history that goes back to the game's first decade. An old player named JV3x3 was infamous for refusing to consider his stock taken until you dealt damage to the next one. If he was at 2 stocks and 0% when he won the game, he insisted that he had 3 stock you. To a normal person, this was a 2 stock, but to JV, it was a 3 stock. And so, Melee's Perfect was born, a clean, undamaged 4 stock called the JV5. Kirby Kaze vs Kalamazoo was one of the only near-perfect games in Melee history for that time, and it also produced one of the funniest YouTube comments I've ever seen in a while. The only other one that came close around that time was Hax on the receiving end of a near JV5 by the hands of PPMD at MLG Anaheim, yeah, that same event of which GOML was a qualifier, but both of these just fell a little bit short of a perfect game. At GOML 2015 though, Hax would actually take the first 2 games of Grands against Hungrybox, but HBox would show his pedigree as one of the 5 gods by completing a reverse 3-0 to win his first ever GOML.
At 54%, oh okay. Oh, that should be it right there. That's it. Oh wow, and he ends it in style.
Wow.
Wow, and congratulations
back here, rest.
to Team Liquid's own Hungrybox for taking first place.
In 2015, it was a bit of a theme to have a litany of production problems, and GOML was unfortunately no exception. With Apex just a couple months prior going down as one of the most catastrophic recoveries in Smash event planning, a lot of pressure was on the tournaments to follow to ensure that they didn't recreate those same errors. It actually ended up raining during GOML 2015, causing the roof to leak, which in turn caused production to on-the-fly transport the entire stream setup across the venue. Somehow and miraculously, the stream never went down during this issue, so GOML 2015 was able to get out relatively scot-free. But coupling these scares with the fact that GOML had clearly outgrown the Founders Assembly Hall, something needed to change. The venue was packed even off the back of a grassroots effort and through the weather issues, and that was a great thing, but it was time to scale.
It's not like the event itself was necessarily like revolutionary. Like it was in a similar space to venues of other majors and stuff like that. But it was the first time it happened in Canada, which was really awesome. So it was historic in that regard. And then 2015 was like half step up from 2014. It was just like a bigger, better version in the same space. And then when I came to the 2016 one, I was like, oh, like holy shit.
Get On My Level 2016 was the third edition of the Get On My Level series. Taking place May 20th to 22nd, Joe and the team took this scaling opportunity seriously, and it paid off huge. Between a rebrand of the logo based on Randall the Cloud from Yoshi's Story, a bigger venue at the Queen Elizabeth building, and a joiner with a couple other larger events at the time called Good Game Con and Toryuken 5, GOML was really beginning to find its groove.
I think when GOML really got over the hump and was recognized more in the category of a super major and a major was 2016. And that's when I felt like, man, we really have something here, and we've broken through to not just the Canadian audience, but the global Smash community as a whole.
2016 really was the year that it just seemed like we overcame the true, not that it's not grassroots anymore, but the true grassroots feel of like, this is just a bunch of dudes in one room at a school, or like a game store, or you name it, you know?
As mentioned before, 2015's Get On My Level was clearly outgrowing the location, so the changes made here were huge improvements. The event featured all 4 main Smash titles with 987 unique entrants registered, nearly tripling its numbers from 2014 and making this year's installment the biggest Canadian Smash tournament to date. Where 2014 and 2015 may have struggled in the past in terms of attendees, 2016 was also an upgrade. 509 players entered the singles bracket, and it now featured a star-studded group of competitors. Each of the active gods of Melee, Mango, Mewtwo King, Hungrybox, and Armada, alongside Leffen, the now Godslayer, were present, making GOML 2016 honestly really stacked.
That was when I knew that like GOML was here to stay. I mean, I always knew Joe would never give up on it and he'd keep doing it, but to see it gain this level of traction was so impressive, especially for, you know, just watching my friend do it as a fan. It doesn't necessarily take like some higher power to kind of like bless your event to grow it from stage 1 to stage 2. You can do this yourself if you have a good team around you and you put in a lot of work. And that was also very uplifting to watch that happen.
The doubles bracket of this event was just like kind of funny, I guess. I mean, look at these teams. Wizrobe Nintendude, Armada Shroomed, and Hungrybox Leffen. Yeah, this one was just a weird bracket throughout, but it normalized a bit at the end with one of the GOAT doubles teams, PewFat, taking the win, but not before they were reset by the famous 4-leaf Mango and then brought to a Game 5 in Set 2.
Bro Bear, is that it? Oh, that's it! PewFat win it! Game 5! They clutch it last time! Mango looking a valiant effort, they make it all the way out!
Now, remember Nunn from the GOML last year? Well, he produced quite possibly the biggest story of the entire tournament when he went on an absolute rampage through the GOML 2016 bracket. Each match ended up being a grind, barely losing to Ice, 2015's rank 17 and the best player in Germany, before having to face off against Vanitas, an Ice Climbers main, which was one of Nunn's most detested matchups. In early Melee, many Ice Climbers relied heavily on a technique called wobbling. While its uses in modern-day player main a bit controversial, wobbling was an infinite combo accessible only to the Ice Climbers in Melee, and it required having both Ice Climbers alive to perform it. If it was performed correctly, the opponent would be hit in a pretty easy and inescapable alternating rhythm, which ultimately leads to a guaranteed KO. Nunn would famously tweet, "I'm getting wobbled in my favorite game, what do I do?" in the middle of being wobbled by DizKid Boogie, a top 100 Ice Climbers player near the end of 2015, and from there, the rest was history. Nunn ended up making it through this matchup at GOML with a 2-1 to make it into the main bracket, and then beat a pair of top 20 players in PewPew and Hugs to make it to Mewtwo King, a player who had not lost to a Captain Falcon player since Isaiah did it in 2006.
At the end of the day, it does feel like for some reason Nunn happens to be he's like the record-breaking Falcon.
Nunn became the first Captain Falcon to beat Mewtwo King in a best-of-5 set in over 10 years, already etching his name into the history books. But he'd take it one step further with this win by also qualifying for GOML 2016's top 8, the first time a Captain Falcon had gotten a top 8 in almost 3 years.
Okay, is this it? Is this it? Oh, he tries a really great yell.
Really
that
good
was
that
such good defense by Mewtwo King.
Oh, that's it! He does it! The game!
The roll forward smash! No way! Talk to him, Nunn!
And in case that wasn't enough of a breakout moment, Nunn also hit the clip of the tournament in his first match of top 8 versus Lucky. He didn't end up winning this set and would exit GOML at 7th place, but this is still to this day one of the most well-remembered combos in Melee to those initiated.
Nunn beating M2K is definitely near the top of the list. I was on commentary for Smash 4 while it happened, and like I was just looking over. We all do it, right? Like when the other game or the other stream is having those hype moments, like the casters are always peeking over, and I was doing that the whole time, like trying to focus on what was in front of me, or like sell it, like I was focused on that. That was insane. Just because, you know, M2K lost to a Falcon. What? Like, wait, it's a Canadian Falcon? What? Wait, it's a dude who used to street race in Nicaragua who came here and did this? Like, what?
Yeah.
And like, I've been boys with Nunn for a long time before that too. So like on a personal level, I was like, yo, Ed did that shit? Like, let's go. That might have been like the most electrifying upset that ever happened at GOML too.
Armada followed a career low 17th off the back of a forfeit at EGLX 2016 with a 5th place at GOML, the second lowest singles placement he's ever received in his career, as insane as that may sound, and outplacing him was actually Lucky, the number 12 player on SSBM ranked 2015. After beating Nunn, Lucky would grab a 3-0 on Westballs, then ranked number 8 in the world, before bowing out at 4th place to Mango.
To the top platform forward air, like you said. Yeah, yeah, he had him stuck right there. Lucky did not go for a side beat. Side beat would have helped. Yeah. Saw the way Mango waited. Lucky ends up in 4th place. It was a well-played set.
The other big story from 2016's Melee bracket came, of course, from the winner, though, Leffen. Leffen's reputation preceded him going into 2016, now firmly established as the God Slayer and going down as one of only 2 players in Melee history to beat each of the 5 gods. In March of 2015, he was signed to Team Solo Mid, and it really looked like he was going to be one of the players the gods needed to be wary of. Until
Smash Bros. Melee is not considered a legitimate sport.
Consequently, the petition is denied for the above stated reason. Denied form, denied. William Peter Jelta has been denied.
This is just bullshit.
While traveling to the Big House 5 near the end of 2015, Leffen was denied entry into the United States and deported due to his lack of a worker's visa. These issues continued to affect him for over a year, preventing Leffen from entering a number of large tournaments. And to make matters worse, Leffen was later denied a worker's visa from the United States because apparently Melee isn't a sport.
Listen, is it a sport or not? I believe it's a sport. They get sports visas to enter the country.
That's not a sport.
That's not a
sport. That's not a sport.
It's not a real
I want to talk about the 20 million people who are watching the damn thing.
And the money
they
that
gotta
they're
be
making.
crazier than the ones
big money to watch it.
The silver lining to all of this, though, was that while Leffen couldn't compete in the US, his visa was still good in Canada.
And again, you know, that's really due to Canadian visa laws being much more lax, but like we went out of our way to make sure we could get him there.
He ended up entering EGLX 2016, where he finished at a rather disappointing 7th, and with a quick win at the first Battle of BC just a couple weeks later, he'd get to travel across Canadian coast to redeem himself at GOML. And redeem himself was a severe understatement. Leffen absolutely demolished the competition, taking out all of the active 5 gods back to back to back to back while winning the entire tournament from the winner's side. Mewtwo King 3-2, Armada 3-1, HBox 3-2, and Mango 3-1. Excluding CEO 2015, also classified as a super major and also a tournament that Leffen won, GOML goes down as one of the rare times in this era of the game where a player outside of the 5 gods won a super major, with the last time that formally happened being Azen winning at Viva La Smashdiclism in 2007.
Can't forward smash like that, Mango. Nice smash GI. Uh-oh. Could be the grab. That might be it. Is that it? Is that it? No. Air dodge. Yep, that's it. That's it. Leffen wins. Leffen makes the comeback. He beats all 4 gods in the wake. But I have to say, it's out of winners.
The end of Get on My Level 2016 brought a ton of success and happiness to Joe and the team. Joe himself regards it as the most legendary entry to the series, signifying GOML's transition from a regional/national to a bona fide super major.
I think the happiest I've ever been coming out of an event was GOML 2016. Like, I was literally like at the end of the event crying, hugging people, because I finally felt like, man, like we got over the hump. Like feeling like it was no longer like being held back by the fact that it was, you know, in Canada or, you know, streamed on a platform that wasn't as followed as the other big streaming channels at the time. Like that sense of triumph and feeling like, man, finally, like it's all coming together. Like it was just a beautiful tournament, you know, like so many sick upsets, so many sick moments. Just, it was really like the first time that we really stepped up on a convention level event. Like 2014 and 2015 I had hosted at my university, and like, yeah, like we kind of just took it to a whole new height, and the fact that it paid off and it came together in what was such a legendary event, like I was just so proud, man. Like, it means the world to me, not because it's like a personal milestone on my side, but because it was like, man, so many fucking people bought into this and made it happen. Like that's what got us over the hump. What got us over the hump wasn't like I worked harder and like because I put in more hours the tournament was sick. It was like, yeah, I worked hard as fuck, but like the community came together. And knowing that the community has your back, like that's the best feeling in the world. Like knowing that like if you put shit out there that's like good and genuine and pure, people will fuck with it. Like that was the best feeling in the world, because I had so much doubt going into 2016. I was like, I remember I was like calling my friend when I was driving to the venue at the time. I was fucking like scared shitless. I was like, man, like I'm fucking scared. Like I don't know what the fuck to do. Like this is like the biggest and craziest thing I've ever done. And like just being able to like face that fear and not like shrink in the moment but rise to the occasion, like that's what's meaningful to me. – 2017 was really the first year where I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to host the event, just because like I was going through some tough times financially, you know, sponsorships weren't there. And we were coming off the high of 2016, and we kind of felt like, okay, like I said, I felt like we got over the hump. So it was almost like that, you know, little bit of complacency where you think, okay, now that we've gotten over the hump, sponsors are going to come, and now we'll be able to, you know, keep growing it. But, you know, in 2016 or 2017, it was a wake-up call.
– 2016 felt like the year where GOML had finally hit the big leagues. Everything went perfect, and the team was finally over that hump. So what an interesting trajectory for the series to take, to have its best year ever followed by one where the staff didn't even know if it would be happening. Joe was unable to announce GOML 2017 due to financial hardships and ballooning event costs, which led to a bit of a meme in the Ontario Smash community.
We were very scared, and especially Joe, because, you know, this is like at the end of the day a mom and pop shop that is like run on his personal line of credit, the EMG business line of credit, aka Toronto Joseph Incorporated.
After what had felt like a long period of non-answers, Joe finally ended up saying screw it. Without any budget or sponsors, GOML 2017 was announced on May 13th, coming back for its 4th installment at the end of July. If 2016 was truly the hump year, 2017 was truly the we'll do it live year. Joe and the team had almost nothing prepared at the time of the announcement, giving them about a month and a half to plan everything. The tournament was moved to Mississauga's International Center to cut back on costs, and as quickly as those 6 weeks could pass, GOML 2017 was already upon us.
Even 2017 was in a pretty ridiculous venue. Like, we had a Red Bull monster truck in the venue. Like, I was like, yo, this is otherworldly, you know? And stuff like that was definitely a rarity at tournaments in that era. Like, you'd maybe expect it at EVO and nothing else. So yeah, I think every year I'm like a little bit more impressed with like how we've been able to turn things into this huge project now.
Taking some of that momentum from the banger that was 2016 though, 2017 was the first year where GOML cracked 1,000 unique entrants, coming in at 1,103 for the 4 main series titles. Melee got a small boost in numbers, now reaching 566 entrants, the highest number in series history at that time, but like 2015, it was once again a bit lacking on the top end. The previous year's champion Leffen made a return, finally beginning to turn his visa issues around, and HBox was the only member of the gods here, coming back for his 4th straight year. To make matters worse, StartGG, the bracketing software that nearly every tournament was using at that point, had a massive bug that broke the melee progressions, causing Joe and Matt.Zeb, another prominent tournament organizer in the Northeast, to rebuild the entire bracket from scratch, which included reinserting all of the data from the pools matches already played. This was a 6+ hour venture happening in the midst of the tournament weekend, which again somehow was pulled off without much of a visible issue to the event. GOML 2017 was notably Zayn Nagmi's first tournament series appearance, where he placed 9th, barely losing to SFAT in the winner's bracket, and if you're at all in the know when it comes to Melee, this is an incredibly funny statement, but he then beat Ginger and Mike Hayes before barely missing top 8 by the hands of Shroomed. Also finishing at 9th place were a pair of Samus mains, Hugs and Duck, then ranked 21st and 15th respectively in the Summer 2017 ranking, which was released just a couple weeks before this GOML. And just behind them at 13th was an elusive player with a not-so-elusive ranking, number 23, Crush. Not a lot to say about him now, and quite frankly not a lot to say about him even in the future, but we'll get to him in a bit. The biggest question of all on the competition side was of course going to come from the 2 top seeds as well as former GOML winners, Leffen and Hungrybox. These 2 of course made it to grand finals, Leffen from winners and HBox from losers, but in terms of head-to-heads, things were looking slightly favored for HBox. Hungrybox took 4 out of 5 set wins over Leffen in 2017 up until GOML at Smash Summit Spring 2017, Royal Flush, and Smash and Splash 3, but Leffen did find a 3-1 win in winners finals of this GOML to make it into grands. This set went down to the wire with a final Game 5 to decide either a reset or the end of the bracket, with one of these players guaranteed to become a 2-time GOML champion. Leffen completely ran away with Game 5 through a 3-stock on FD, defending his title, shaking up the Five Gods narrative, and showing the world that he was just a different kind of beast in Canada.
So much damage built, so much damage built. He's just going to keep finding a way out of the corner and keeps rinsing and repeating. There's the up air! Amazing job by Leffen! Leffen is your GOML 2017 and 2016 champion.
So after a bit of a scare in 2017, GOML 2018 was able to bring things back to a little bit of normalcy. The event returned to the International Center, was back to happening in May, and represented a whopping 5 more unique entrants, while Melee took a small dip down to 449 attendees. Zayn ended up getting knocked into losers incredibly early and would go on a pretty crazy losers bracket run, beating Nun, Shroomed, and Moki. He then got his revenge on SFAT from the last Get On My Level, which again, very funny, and would exit GOML 2018 thanks to Axe, who was on a bit of a monster run himself. Axe, after having lost to Hungrybox, which was a bit of a struggle matchup for him, proceeded to defeat Zayn and then Mewtwo King. Wait, Mewtwo King was playing Puff? What? Yeah, so it turns out Mewtwo King had some type of sub-goal or something where he would play Jigglypuff as a counterpick, and I guess he reached it. Regardless though, between the Puff and the Sheik for 2 games apiece and the Fox for 1, he wasn't able to stand up to Axe, ultimately bringing the Pikachu into a run back against HBox, where he'd finally bow out of the tournament with a bronze medal at his first ever GOML. Also attending his first ever GOML was one of Axe's good friends from the West, Masaya Amsa Chikamoto. Known as the best Yoshi player of all time, Amsa put himself on the map in early 2013 to 2014, but had only been to Canada before this for Battle of BC 2. Amsa went on a solid run to 5th here, losing out to Axe in winners, then beating Duck and Swedish Delight before also falling to Mewtwo King. And lastly, attending his second and final Get On My Level was that elusive Crush, who ended up grabbing a 9th place here. He played in a few locals in his region after this tournament and one final tournament in 2019 before completely falling off the face of the planet forever. But for all intents and purposes, GOML 2018 was Crush's last major ever before completely disappearing, reportedly stopping to focus on school and ending his career at Global Rank 17 on MPGR 2018. Hungrybox was on a streak of winning nearly everything in 2018, and here would end up being no different. He had a close Game 5 scare with Crush actually, and was sent to losers by Plups Fox, but then brought it all the way back to take the tournament in a Game 9 Grand Finals. Get On My Level 2018 marked the last event in Kirby Kaze's competitive career, completing his tenure in Smash at rank 29 on SSBM rank 2017. At the end of GOML 2018, Joe would ask Max Ketchum to join with EMG on a more formal capacity, where he's currently listed as the Director of US Operations for the team.
I don't even know what the hell our titles would be. Joe could be owner and founder, and I could be like, you know, head organizer or something. I don't know, but like, I'll always be the first one to say like, this is his baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's the mastermind, like, I am the backup.
And that addition would end up being a worthy one, as the GOML series just kept on upping the ante.
It just kind of like really naturally happened, like our friendship, and then, you know, when you trust someone as a person, like, and you're doing projects that are adjacent to what they do and in the same space that they do, like naturally you kind of want to get more involved with each other in that way. And yeah, like, you know, in 2018, it was really like, okay, like, you know, you could use my help and I want to be part of this. Like I always was part of it and enjoyed being part of it, but like to step in like an advanced role, I thought was something that like was speaking to me. And it was speaking to Joe, so we just made it Facebook official, you know?
Now with Max on board, Joe would ideally be able to delegate a bit more and create a more stable environment for the GOML series. Get On My Level 2019 was announced on January 30th, 2019, scheduled for May 17th to 19th. Returning to downtown Toronto at the Better Living Center, this was the first year where traditional FGC titles Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Street Fighter V were included on the lineup, in addition to the usual Smash suspects. But once again, in like 2015, the end of 2018's release of Smash Ultimate allowed GOML to feature the new title over the Wii U version. Melee brought in 420 entrants, nice, including Mango making his first appearance back since 2016, Leffen after taking a gap year in 2018, and Hungrybox taking no GOMLs off. Some of the high seats also included Axe, Wizrobe, SFAT, Zane, and a new top Canadian on the block. GOML 2019 was a breakout event for Curtis Moki Pratt, who had just entered the top 100 on 2017's SSBM rank at number 96. Even Matchup Gaming had picked up Moki for their roster just a few months after GOML 2018, and he'd been attending GOML since 2015, getting 33rd at 2015, 16, and 17, and 9th at 2018, but this one was different for a number of reasons. In 2018, Moki's bracket to 9th was a little bit uneventful, losing out 3-1 to Mewtwo and then Zane. He did end up getting a pretty crazy upset over Ice, the best player in Germany in that bracket, but it paled in comparison to what ended up happening in 2019. First, Moki took a 3-2 victory over KJH, one of the best players in Michigan and number 25 on the 2018 global rankings. Then he brought Hungrybox all the way to Game 5 in what could have been the biggest upset of the tournament. Instead, Moki still gave us the biggest upset of the tournament in the losers bracket, first beating SB 3-0, Lucky 3-2, and then Plup, the 4th best player in the world, 3-1. Like I said, this was a huge breakthrough performance for the rising star, and Moki would only go one round further into Wizrobe, exiting at a career-high 7th, but just look at a couple clips from this match and maybe you'll get an idea of what kind of player Moki was to become.
Okay.
Plup! Oh, he messed up. He was trying to jump back and grab the ledge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Moki.
Oh, yo, Moki's bro. Oh
Yo.
my god. Yo, the Daraki instant wall jump into Shine.
Oh my
Chillin'.
god.
What?
Moki Doki.
Moki Doki.
That was crazy, man. What
he really
a
did
set from him.
Instant wall jump into
He just
Shine.
3-1'd Plup and eliminated Plup from the tournament.
Also, you probably caught that Plup was playing Fox for this entire set, and we can sort of thank Chillin' Dude for that. In top 64 bracket, Plup and Chillin' had to play, and Chillin' actually took a game off of Plup Sheik, which resulted in Plup going Fox for the rest of the tournament. At the time, many in the scene jokingly said that Chillin' had retired Plup Sheik, and maybe it was a benefit to play the Fox Ditto for Moki here, so thanks Chillin'. GOML 2019 also marked an at-the-time low for Hungrybox, becoming the first time since the Big House 6 where he placed outside of top 4. And perhaps coincidentally, he and SFAT tied for 5th place at both GOML 2019 and the Big House 6. So if Plup got knocked out before top 8 by Moki and HBox didn't even make top 4, who did? Well, Mango and Leffen were still in, but the other two were a bit odd. Axe, who would soon make history as the first Pikachu to ever win a major at Smash Summit 8, and Wizrobe, who would also soon make history as the first Captain Falcon in a very long time to win a major at Smash and Splash 5, rounded out GOML's top 4. Leffen and Mango would first face off in Winners Finals, where Mango would, like in 2014, advance to Grand Finals off the back of a 3-0, but Leffen didn't end up returning to Mango for the rematch. Instead, Axe would go on a monster run, first eliminating Wizzy at 4th in a close 3-2, then defeating Leffen 3-1, his first win against the Godslayer in 2019.
Go for it! And he gets it! Axe has done it! 3-1 over Leffen in losers finals here at GOML.
This would lead to a unique grand finals of Axe versus Mango, the first time this had ever happened at a major, but even with the momentum on Axe's side, this was a rough draw. Axe had shown a ton of promise at Genesis 6, finishing that event with a silver medal, and his 2019 was looking incredibly strong. But Mango hadn't lost in this head-to-head since Smash Rivalries all the way back in 2017, and he even took a win at Pound 2019 just a month before GOML to pad his stats even more. While Axe did fight hard to bring this to a Game 5 for the reset, Pikachu's first major victory would remain just out of reach here, as Mango took over in that Game 5, denying the reset and taking his second Get On My Level title.
You can get a little more crazy with it, knowing that he has these Doxus.
Oh, wait, let's see.
This might be it.
And there it is! Mango!
C9 Mango is your Get On My Level 2019 champion.
Mango had made it to winners finals at nearly half of the tournaments he attended in 2018, so this felt a bit overdue for the kid. GOML 2019 was Mango's first victory in Melee singles since Super Smash Con 2017, almost 2 years prior, and it now tied him in series wins with Leffen and HBox. Momentum is the word of choice I use here when describing the trajectories of almost all of our players in the discussion at the end of 2019, but that momentum would be stopped in its tracks by something no one, especially Joe, Max, and the GOML team, could have possibly been prepared for.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic on March 11th, 2020 threw just about everything we once knew about live events out the window. How long would this last? Would we ever have an in-person tournament ever again? Would we ever be able to even see our friends ever again?
COVID was a whole other beast, right? Because pretty much at the time, it seemed like the industry that we had built GOML around was going to be no more. Like live events, convention events, like you could forget about it with the advent of COVID. But, you know, we never lost faith. Like just because we had to cancel in-person GOML, like I think literally in our announcement of like refunding people, we were like, stay tuned for what's next. Because our minds were already on like, okay, how do we keep this thing going? How do we give people an opportunity to still play?
Obviously, the entire world was shaken up by this sudden and abrupt change, and this had hit event planners like Joe and Max hard. GOML 2020 was announced on January 5th, 2020 for May 15th to 17th at the Weston Harbor Castle, and the team was forced to indefinitely postpone.
Initially, when COVID hit, we weren't even sure if we'd be able to get the money back for the deposit on the venue and stuff like that. We were extremely nervous. We didn't know if this was going to be like a 5-week thing, a 5-month thing, a 5-year thing, right?
But exactly 2 months after the announcement of COVID-19 as a global pandemic, the team announced Get On My Line, an online free-to-enter tournament scheduled for July 18th to 19th.
When we did Get On My Line, that was like the first net play Slippy major, and fortunately, because we were the first, I think we got away with doing it, and we kind of flew under the radar. But yeah, we stuck with it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I think even if Nintendo sent me a cease and desist, I still would have ran that shit.
Per Liquipedia, this tournament would go down as the first online major in the game's history. And that ease of accessibility, being online, honestly served as a huge buff to entrant count, as the tournament boasted a combined 3,251 attendees across Melee and Ultimate, with Melee having 1,367 entrants.
Fortunately, once it looked like things were gonna be this way for the long haul, they were able to let us off the hook, and then we had to pivot to doing something online, which obviously is like so deflating when it's like, yo, this was gonna be the year that we took even another step forward for this series, but now we have to take like 20 steps back and run out on Slippy. You know, moments like that really do call your commitment to stuff into question, but I mean, we never stopped. We were never like, yo, like, let's not even bother doing an online thing. We were like, no, we need to like keep GOML's legacy alive. Like, this pandemic will end one day, or like, you know, quarantine will end at the very least, and we know that like this is the right thing to do for the scene, for the brand of GOML, and just like in your soul, you know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to like not deliver something awesome that people are expecting, or even if they're not expecting it, even if they give you a freebie because there's a pandemic, it's like you still want to keep that energy alive and like let everyone know that the spirit of Smash is not dead just because there's a virus going around. You know what I'm saying?
Times certainly weren't perfect, but Melee in particular did have a silver lining. On June 22nd, 2020, the team working at Project Slippy released a new Dolphin build that would introduce rollback netcode and integrated matchmaking into Super Smash Bros. Melee.
This is me matchmaking in rollback Melee with Zane. Zane lives in the MDVA in the east of the US. I'm from Sweden, and this is over 100 ping. If you zoom in here, you can see the insane ping, and then look at the gameplay.
Dude, it feels so good.
That's insane.
This became a major breakthrough in the competitive Melee community, as distance-based latency would no longer be as backbreaking of an issue. Rollback netcode was something most games had dreamed of, but to have it introduced in the midst of a pandemic where most in-person tournament activity had already been completely shut down meant that Project Slippy became the easiest and most accessible way to play Melee ever. Get On My Line would be able to use this rollback netcode for a not necessarily painless but workable transition into the online event space. 2020's online rendition had to make a few compromises as a result of the drastic aesthetic change to the series, so they region locked it to the US and Canada, and also had to make matches best of 3 instead of the traditional best of 5 up until top 8 to save on some time. Online competition was a new experience for everyone involved, but I don't think many expected how dramatic of a change this would be. Hungrybox, whether offline or online, continued his streak of attending GOML since its inception, and thus began a bit of a slump period for the only member of the 5 gods to enter at this bracket. He placed 7th with losses to Spark and IBDW. Also entering a bit of an unfortunate slump was Axe, fresh off his history-making 2019. Online did not fare very well for the beloved Pikachu, and at the first online GOML he would DQ at a career-low 65th. The biggest story to come from the online era of GOML was actually from None, who would end up taking this entire tournament. Facing off against him was IBDW, now known to the world as Cody Schwab, and he would give the Falcon a run for his money, first resetting the bracket and then forcing a last stock Game 5 where None would find one last knee to win the tournament. In a series first, 2020, while it was online, saw its first ever Canadian winner.
Up here, another one that's not gonna be enough. Oh my goodness. 97, 97. Oh, Shanair, off stage. Oh, no.
Now, of course, like I said before, this was not an ideal state for anybody to be living in, but for fans of the game, it was at least something. I go back to that word of momentum when describing the trajectories of our players and even the GOML series here. Everyone was riding a wave of positivity in 2019, only to have it all shut down in a few short months, and it kinda showed here. On September 18th, 2020, Get On My Level won the award for the best Canadian esport event at the first ever Canadian Game Awards, proving just how far this series had come, and how legendary things would be if and when the event was able to come back in full force.
We just wanted to show that it was for the love of the community, man. Like, we weren't hosting this for a paycheck, we weren't hosting this to advance our careers. It was literally like for the love of the game, for the community. And yeah, like if you look back on like the processes we had for running the event in 2014 compared to like how refined and, you know, how much more in order it is now, I have no idea how we got through that event. But I think it's just a showcase to, you know, back in 2014 there was no expectations around, you know, your event finishing by X time, your pool finishing on time. Like, people were just there because they wanted to have a good time and they loved the game, and everything was just so new and exciting that really, like, it didn't matter how tight your tournament was or logistically how sound it was really just about, did you provide a sick experience that people will remember? And I think because that's what motivated us, that's what allowed GOML to grow.
The pandemic had persisted through 2021, resulting in GOML once again having to be conducted online. This time, Get On My Line was split into a North American and Europe bracket though, and it was admittedly a bit less stacked overall. A total of 1,822 attendees logged in for this one, with Melee only having 303 players in the NA bracket and 162 in the EU bracket. Over in Europe, Pipsqueak took home the bracket with a pretty resounding 3-0 victory over Ice, and other than that, most things seemed to be par for the course, with Ja Raiden, a Luigi main from Switzerland, grabbing a bronze medal here. In NA, a good number of DQs flowed through, which was pretty normal for online tournaments since they were so low commitment, and Axe had said he'd be playing secondaries here, going Marth for the entire bracket. His Marth was actually really fun to watch, and we got one of the more exciting sets of the tournament in early round 1 of the West Coast bracket, Axe versus John Wick in a Marth Ditto. This match went 5 games with Axe just barely scraping by at the end to advance. He'd make it into top 8 of this tournament, where he'd go 5 games with Ginger and then be eliminated at 9th by Bobby Big Balls. On the East Coast bracket, we had a massive upset in Toussaint, the next highest ranked Jigglypuff main, after Hungrybox beating None, last year's online champion. But the weird and kinda crazy dominance of online None persisted here though, with him going on a loser's run through Jamrun, Squibble, Eddie Mexico, Bobby Big Balls, Toussaint in the runback, Ginger, Aklo, and then Moki in 2 sets to defend his GOML online title, also technically becoming a 2-time GOML champion.
Man, oh god, he's playing so good though.
Oh my goodness, and there it is. What a way to end the tournament. None taking the second set 3-0. your champion of Get On My Line 2021.
These online events were fun, and they certainly kept the flame of Melee burning through a very difficult time, but it was clear the people were itching for a live, in-person event. Smash Summit 11 got the ball rolling for in-person majors on July 15th through 18th, and it had gone down as one of the best tournaments of all time, possibly in part due to that narrative that was painted over the last 2 years of the pandemic. As well, the rest of the year saw a few other events begin to trickle back, like Riptide, Main Stage, Smash Summit 12, and the Smash World Tour Championships. Finally, at long last, it seemed like we were beginning to make it back, which meant Get On My Level would also be back, live and in person, very soon.
It was just like a family reunion for the Canadian scene, it felt like, and as someone who's not from Canada and had been to a handful of majors in the time between, I think Riptide was the first one back, and GOML, I feel like I didn't get to share in that same joy, but I watched it on everyone's face around me, whereas we haven't had a GOML or a Battle of BC or an event of this nature for, 2.5 years. So everyone was just happy to be there. You felt this carefree and grateful attitude that I think has kind of slowed down now that events being back is the norm. But it was just really nice to see that, and I felt like our work as TOs was probably the most appreciated that year, just because there was a time where we didn't know, would it be GOML online forever? Would it be we do this until we get bored of it online and it just doesn't hit the same and people get tired of it, and maybe people start to lose passion in the community? But I think particularly, again, for the Canadian scene, or maybe even more so for the Eastern Canadian scene, it was a ray of hope, and things are back to normal, and we're not going to give up so easy. Smash is here to stay. Smash is immortal. As long as people keep playing it, as long as people keep hosting tournaments, you can't kill this shit, man.
The return to in-person Melee brought joy to quite literally the entire community. Everyone was stoked to be back, and after being locked down for what felt like an eternity, it felt like these events could be bigger and better than ever before. Global pandemic notwithstanding, and as fortunate as it can be, GOML was one of the only event series in Melee that was able to run continuously through the 2 years of the pandemic via online, but for the first time in those 2 years, they'd be making a comeback. Joe and Max had signed a multi-year venue agreement with the Sheraton Toronto Hotel, by far the biggest, baddest, and best venue the series ever had. Located right in the heart of Toronto with a 24-hour venue connected to the hotel, it was clear that Get On My Level 2022 was going to be pulling out all the stops. The prospect of visiting Toronto for the first time in 2 years, alongside a surge of new Melee players from the so-called Slippy era of the game, seemed to help a lot as well, as GOML 2022 upped the ante from even its online years with 1,219 unique entrants. Melee took a small dip down to 493, but a lot had happened since the last GOML in 2019. Like Jmook. Wait, who's Jmook? Oh, he got second place at Genesis. Cool. Wait, what? Yeah, so quite possibly the most meteoric rise in Melee, Jake Jmook Dorado changed just about everything we thought we knew about the competitive Melee scene. He had been playing Melee since 2014, coming up in the same scene that also produced Cody Schwab, and he had completely redefined the way Sheik was seen from both a result and character optics perspective. Had we not entered a lockdown shutting down all in-person tournaments, it was very likely that Zane, yeah, the same Zane that got 7th at the last live GOML in 2019, would have been crowned as the best player in the world. He was given the title in the MPGR Summer 2022 rankings, fully released about a month after GOML 2022's conclusion, but Zane never really got the satisfaction to see that ranking realized in 2020 or 2021. Why am I even mentioning this? Oh yeah, Jmook reverse 3-0'd him. Twice.
Opportunity here. It starts with the up tilt. Big call at 35%. So much pressure on this left side, Radar.
And he is getting so much damage. Even if he loses this stock, crouch cancel is off the table, and he's keeping it going.
In the world. Let's see if Jmook can take this one. Dash attack too far away to convert.
That's it. That's it. Jmook does it.
With the pop-up. It doesn't matter if you're the best player in the world. The posture from Jmook is immeasurable.
My God. Jmook going the distance. Again, are we going to see a Sheik win a tournament for the first time in like a decade?
Oh, and he gets the counter. No, Zane is playing out of his mind right now. Okay.
That's gonna be it.
Jmook continues on in this bracket. Zane out at third.
Crazily enough, the double reverse 3-0 marks the first instance of a double elimination in top 8 of a major Smash tournament occurring in this fashion. Jmook would advance into losers finals from that, knocking Zayn out at third, but he was sent into the losers bracket by Hungrybox, who had marched his way into Grands after wins on Jamrun, Ben, Nunn, and IBEW, who himself had just successfully completed the world's first and possibly only reverse pop-off.
Laser on the chip damage right now. Cody looking for any opportunity. Weak hit nair, up smash. Weak hit aerial into anything. Drill, grab, up throw, up air.
Yeah, I like that he's lasering just a little bit, wants to get that option back on the table. He's worried about just misspacing lasers even so slightly, because if he gets hit by a backer, he will be knocked off stage like what we just saw.
Opportunity for HBox, he calls it out, and that's gonna be it!
Wow. Well, he's stealing his moment there, Walt.
After falling into losers, Cody would be eliminated from the tournament in a wild Fox Ditto upset by Joshman, the #1 player in Australia. Joshman even appearing in this top 8 was also monumental, as it was the first time an Australian native would ever make it there, but he'd take it one step further after the win here. Ultimately placing 4th, this would mark the highest placement at a major Melee tournament from a player from the Oceanic region ever.
Yeah, he has been trying to kind of bait that roll. IBW not giving it to him, but beautiful forward extension!
Aussie,
oh my God, that's it!
Oi, oi, oi! Joshman with the 3-1 eliminates IBDW at 5th place.
Yeah, they are hugging it out. Great sportsmanship from Joshman. I can't believe what we're watching. I did not think Joshman would get this, but look at how exciting he is, man. Just amazing to see.
Highest placement guaranteed, 4th place at this event, Radar, an opportunity to go even higher. Joshman put in Australia on the map in a huge way.
Rounding out the rest of the top 8 were the Canadians Moki and Nunn at 7th, and Mango slotting in at 5th, but before we get to Grands, let's rewind a couple days. On the first night of GOML 2022, arguably one of the greatest crew battles of all time had gone down. In a 10v10 USA versus the World crew battle, it went down to the very final stock out of 40 to decide a winner.
Oh,
last stock! 10v10 crew battle, Radar, and we are on last stock IBDW and Moki, USA versus the World. Who has what it takes?
It feels like the next hit is going to do it. They're near the ledge. Even this opening is so huge, Walt. Up smash.
Big backer, he reads the jump!
It's not it yet,
God,
but how does he get
quite.
down? That is the biggest back air.
He read the spot dodge as well, up throw, reverse hit back there, and USA breaks it all the way home. He'd be doing work, he might be moking and doking, but it was not enough.
Shaking my head right now. As a member of the World of Canada, little disappointed, but what a series that was.
Okay, so back to Grands. The old guard Hungrybox versus the very new guard Jmook. Of course, given Jmook's bursting onto the scene, the data between these two was quite limited, but HBox was still undefeated on him, including set wins at online tournament GigaSchwab 2, as well as here in Winners Finals, and at Battle of BC4 just a month prior. Like I mentioned before, HBox was admittedly in a bit of a slump during the online era as well, which raised the question on if he would be able to reclaim victory again, as he'd gotten a silver medal at Pound in April of that year, but the last time he had actually won a major was right before the pandemic struck at Smash Summit 9 in 2020. Jmook took HBox to the dirt in the first game with a 2-stock, but it was all he'd be able to muster in Grands, mirroring a 3-1 in their Winners Finals set and awarding HBox with that coveted Thrommel. With this win, Hungrybox became the first Melee player and second person after Super Boomfan of Smash 64 to win 3 entries of the Get On My Level tournament series.
Every little hit that Jmook gets, it feels like it's just potentially delaying the inevitable.
This is such a hard comeback to make, Toph. This is all but done right now. What's Jmook got for us? He's still fighting. He's still fighting.
He is still fighting, that's true. But as the Bear... Oh! What a tricky wave left with Randall, but... Oh, and the missed ledge dash.
Toph, HBox is your GOML 2022 champion. Checkmate, Atheists. H-God is back.
Where do you see the future of Melee just as a whole?
20 more years. I don't see it going anywhere, and it's clear right now. It looks like there's like 5 different people, maybe more, that can actually win a major, and it's just really exciting times, especially when there's this square of parity with Jmook countering Zayn, me countering Jmook, Cody countering me, Cody countering Leffen countering me. It's just really, really cool, and it leaves so much open to explore and try out. The game is never going to be played at task level, but every single year we're going to get a little bit closer to playing this game at inhuman speeds. and hopefully we'll make some inhuman matches happen. And I'm glad it has it, because I think that guarantees the game's longevity.
The first GOML back was, for all intents and purposes, a huge success, and I'll say in my honest opinion, it was one of the most fun events I had attended in 2022. But Joe and the team had a mantra, hidden in plain sight in the series' namesake. Elevate, 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 and get on to a new level.
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate in that regard that, the event has broken out to the point where people will probably get a passport just for GOML. Like, there are a lot of international events, but ours is the largest, and like that's probably like the starting point for a lot of these players getting a passport. And then, we want to share the love too. Like, we don't want to be the only international event. We now open the door by motivating these people to get a passport to go to all these other things, like whether it's Battle of BC or Regen or Kagaribi or something like that, or Smash Factor. Now they have the tools to do that. So I think GOML did kind of a huge favor to the international community by just getting like international travel on the radar for a lot of players too.
EMG would waste no time at all announcing GOML 2023 on January 8th of the new year. Now with the Sheraton Toronto Hotel locked in, the team would be able to focus their efforts on that never-ending promise to do each year better than the last. And on May 21st, 2023, yet another opportunity presented itself as the Canadian-based esports organization Luminosity Gaming would sign both Joe and Max to the team, and would come on as the presenting sponsor for this year's GOML. In addition to the LG buy-in, somehow Nestle's Coffee Crisp was also an event sponsor. And they also ended up representing Cody Schwab at this event, given his unfortunate sponsor circumstances he'd been dealing with over the last year, which is just kinda cool. At a whopping 1,592 total entrants, Get On My Level 2023 went down as the largest Smash event in Canada. Furthermore, with a Melee bracket of 764, this would also be marked as the largest international Melee tournament of all time. Of those 764 entrants, Zane took the top seed, followed by Cody Schwab, Jmook, and Moki. At 5th seed, we got Hungrybox, the GOML 2022 champion, then Mango, Amsa, and Kadoran rounding out the initially seeded top 8. Before getting into the nitty-gritty though, I will continue to give my shoutouts to Lala for gifting our community with one of the most wholesome experiences imaginable. Thank you for letting me cast over this. I really think this is such a wonderful representation of what our community strives to be, and I do hope more people keep showing up to these events to usher in a brand new generation for Melee.
Randy straight up just mouthed, "Oh my effing god," I'm pretty sure.
Come on, Lala.
Get one.
Come on, Lala. Down smash.
Yes.
Okay, almost.
You know
Yoshi's
what?
So heavy, man.
Oh!
She's fine.
Everything's fine. Yes.
Yeah! Let's go, Lala! I'm gonna say this. I think Lala has a bright future ahead in Smash, because look at their posture right now and tell me what player you get reminded of.
This is insane.
Actually, Mini James'
You
posture.
just opened my third eye today.
Right? Look at
Zane?
the concentration, look at the posture.
Zane, this is the scout of the year. I can't believe you just pointed that out. Well said.
I'm just saying Lala has it, She has it. No, I think, a lot of discussion has been had recently about pools matches, but having one like this where you have a universal hero, that's one of the best things you can ask for. Shout out to the replay team for getting that.
That's rad.
That's so sick. I mean, that might be the first stock Lala's taken at a Smash tournament. We don't know. Which would be, what a magical experience for that to be on stream at GOML. That'd be so cool.
Absolutely. My gosh.
In doubles, Axe and Amsa were finally able to get one over on Cody Schwab and Jmook, looking like one of the strongest teams of this new era, coming from the winner's bracket, and they didn't even need any games of buffer to make that happen. They took this set in a rather dominating 3-0 fashion.
Anything works from blue side right now to get this one started. You just need that first hit. Cody spends the jump now out of resources. That back air was
he threw his own
smart.
teammate! He threw his own teammate! Oh my gosh, the cheese, can he survive
back air
this?
over, yeah, it looks like this.
Oh!
One more kill!
No, he's alive.
From Axe is gonna do
my goodness!
And it is the pop-off from Axe and Amsa. They will be your winners of doubles GOML 2023.
Oh my goodness. I thought Cody was gonna pull out his Coffee Crisp X Factor and pull something crazy there.
And like last year, 2023 featured another USA versus the World 10v10 crew battle, but unlike last year though, this one was kind of all in favor of the US. And Ben also ended it with a little disrespect too. GOML 2023 was also the first time Khalid, a San Diego Jigglypuff player who ended SSBM rank 2022 at number 86, made top 8 at a bracket. For what it's worth, this was also his first ever international event too, but to be put up there with the few other Jigglypuffs who have been able to make it into Top Cut was a huge deal. Khalid's final exit at 7th marked him as the third unique Jigglypuff player to make a top 8 alongside Hungrybox since 2014, with the other two entrants being Toussaint at Genesis 9 and Soft at Apex 2014. Now, if you were paying attention to the bracket there, you may have noticed a Morse code 762 on Khalid's bracket path, who finished this bracket at 9th. Morse code was able to nab the upset of the weekend over the On Fire Jmook with a 3-0 win no less, and that would be the first step towards Jmook's lowest placement in Melee singles ever since Super Smash Con 2017. And with one of the only major tournament winners in 2023 out of GOML remarkably early and no Leffen in sight to shake it up, it was honestly a toss-up on who could take this one. Cody and Zayn were likely the clear favorites, Mango could get his first Thrommel, and HBox, while perhaps doubtful, could even defend his title from last year and get his first Quadruple GOML? Whatever. Oh, AMSA also played Falco against HBox, so there's that.
Understanding spacing where you just aren't safe. HBox just looked confused at something. What is going on? I have talked to AMSA about this, Radar. I asked him after he won Big House 10, if you had a secondary character, who would you play? And he said Falco, but I didn't think he meant it.
HBox and Cody would exit at 5th, leaving the top 4 to AMSA, Moki, Mango, and Zayn. Zayn would beat Mango pretty bad to enter Grand Finals on the winner's side, and AMSA would be the first of these players to be eliminated after facing off against Moki on one of his best runs yet. Moki had just won a Canadian regional called the Come Up over AMSA a couple months prior to this, and to many in the community, it really seemed like he had hit the point where it wasn't an if, but a when on his first major victory. Not to mention, he was on home turf and the people were loving it. Earlier in the day, Moki would hit one of the most legendary clips of the event, shining an already dead Kadoran 8 times.
Nice, good downhill. With the catch right there. Not able to clean it up though. All right, up air. Good weight, yeah, but Kadoran has just been having such a hard time figuring out how to land against Moki here. Nice shine. Yup. What an edge guard. You are, my God, you are not nice. Stop. What is he doing? What is he doing? Chill out. What is he doing? Stop, he's still gonna go. What was that? What was that? What are we even watching? What the? I need production to censor that clip. It needs to be blurred out here. What's going on? Moki, chill the fuck out.
Also, just as a random sidebar, I had posted each of these clips, the Lala one, the AMSA Falco one, and this Moki combo to my various social media platforms, and they all kind of blew up. I don't really have much to add there. I just think it's sick to see that even random moments like these can still reach a large audience of potential new fans for such an old game. Okay, let's get back to Moki. On the list of players Moki would have liked to beat this year, Mango was probably the highest up there. The former god of Melee was one of, if not the biggest thorn in Moki's side, as he sported an undefeated set record against Moki dating back to 2019, and Moki wanted a shot at Mango without any excuses. And in what feels like a very rare moment, the crowd was actually on Moki's side. He went up 2-0 and looked poised to meet Zayn in Grand Finals, but Mango would not be denied here. With Moki out at 3rd, it all came down to the hottest rivalry of 2021 to determine a winner in Toronto. Zayn and Mango were the clear best players during 2020 and 2021, but we really wouldn't get anything close to the grandeur that was the Big House 9 or Smash Summit 11 here, because Zayn just won. Really convincingly.
Mango with one opportunity. Zayn not trying to have it. Forward smash at 142. Mango going low. Oh, that was godlike. The Canadian Cloud. That was so good. There at 163. Oh, down tilt sends the wrong way. Mango's got an opening. What's it going to be? Mango got the knockdown. Shine out of shield.
The Mango plot armor hit different. The Mango plot armor hit different, Toe.
Up throw bear. Oh, my. Oh, no. Mango with that face like, God damn it.
GOML 2023 became the 4th major that Zayn had won without going to a Game 5, alongside LACS4, Pound 2022, and Tipped Off 14 just a couple months before. The Game 1 loss to Mango in Grand Finals was, in fact, the only game he had dropped in the entire tournament. And just like that, we've breezed through 9 years and 10 entries of the Get On My Level tournament series. Fast approaching the anniversary of its first decade, both Joe and Max had felt nothing but gratitude. It really did seem as though they've lived up to that mantra of continuously getting onto a new level with each entry, finally culminating in becoming the biggest event series in Canada.
I love Smash. I got Smash tattooed on me. Like I said, I've been in this community since 2012, and I've been playing all the way since Smash 64 when it first came out. before I even knew that there was a community or a tournament scene, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I think whether or not this evolves into something that I could make a full-time career into, I would love for that to happen. But if we go back to the Stone Ages where, you know, we're hosting this shit in card room basements and, you know, my parents' garages and shit like that, I'm still gonna fucking do it. Like, I don't need GOML to be a 2,000 plus person event for me to want to do it. Like, I'm gonna find a way to keep this community together and keep this community alive, because like that's just straight up what I feel like my life's, you know, calling card is.
I know you guys have an amazing top 8 to get to, but I just want to leave y'all with one more thing. Online, social media, Twitter, that is not the community. This is the fucking community right here. This is the fucking community. The people that yell in the crowd. The people that play Melee every single fucking day because it is the best game of all time, unquestionably. You guys are why we do this. You guys are why Melee will never die. Never forget that. Never forget that shit.
And at long last, we're finally here. 10 years in the making, Get on My Level X. A series truly built from the ground up, celebrating a full decade of memories. Now featuring a swath of other fighting games between Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear, Tekken 8, NASB 2, and Rivals 1 and 2, GOML X was stacked from top to bottom. The legendary IFC Yipes came out to Toronto on the FGC side, and even graced our presence in Melee as well as the top 8 MC, and the vibes just felt excellent. 1,413 unique entrants came to play for the 10th year of Canadian Smash, the second highest number of attendees in a LAN GOML just behind last year's, and of that, Melee had the most in GOML history at 770 entrants, also making this the second biggest major of the year so far, just behind Genesis. Production felt solid here, and on the partnership side, LG still remained as a presenting sponsor, alongside groups like Domino's and a caffeine gummy called Focus Fuel, of which you should not eat the whole bag at once.
Recommended human adult dosage of caffeine daily is between 1,200 to 1,500.
No, that's not recommended. That's fatal.
I do not condone this medically, by the way, but anyway, let's get the big one out of the way first. The number 1 seed, one of the clear favorites to win, and the current best player in the world, Nouns' Cody Schwab, was eliminated from GOML at his lowest placement in an open bracket tournament by the hands of Bing, a Donkey Kong main, and once again, Morse Code 762, a Samus main. Morse also picked up a very solid win versus Axe on his way to Cody, but I do want to shed a bit more light on Bing for a second. Bing over Cody Schwab to the Even Matchup Gaming staff was much more than a historic upset.
All right, I know you guys have been waiting a long time for this Melee top 8, but before we get into the action, there's something that goes way deeper than the game, way deeper than the community. Yesterday, one of the highlight moments, and something that will live forever in GOML's history, Bing made it upset on Cody Schwab. It goes way deeper than that, goes way further than that though. The legacy of Bing goes beyond just yesterday. We lost one of the integral pieces of Even Matchup Gaming in 2016, Brad Bing Durish. Can you all give it up for Brad Bing Durish, guys? Thank you, guys. When he passed away in 2017, we honored him with the Brad Durish Community Leadership Award. I said, after that award ceremony, we'll know when the time is right. And I think there is no better time than the 10-year anniversary to honor Brad's name. It's poetic, guys. Bing made that upset. Bing came here with his soul and his spirit and touched this event. He knew it was time. I had planned this award months in advance. I thought that today was going to be the day that his soul would touch this event. He was here yesterday letting us know, keep going, continue. This is what this is about. It's about community, soul, love of the game. Don't ever lose sight of that, guys. Don't ever lose sight of that.
This was of course a heartfelt moment for Joe and the team, harkening all the way back to a 2017 speech Joe had given with reference to this community member. But the beautiful symbolism of Bing gracing us with their presence in one way or another did not go unnoticed. This was wildly unprecedented and is undoubtedly one of, if not the biggest upsets in modern Melee. But with Cody out of the tournament, the door was blown wide open for Zane, one of the other heavy favorites to win, as well as the rest of the field, which included Amsa, Hungrybox, Moki, Mango, Jmook, Sunsei, Wizarub, Spark, Axe, Kador, and Aklo Trip, Ossify, SCJ, okay, you get it. Wait. Amsa got eliminated by Cody for 17th. Okay, and Zayn lost to Jmook before top 8, and then almost lost to Wizardobe to finish at 9th. Oh, okay. And there was a Puff Ditto for a top 8 qualifier, which the winner would play Hungrybox. Dude, what happened at this tournament? I think I need a minute. Oh look, Zayn entered doubles. That's fun. He ended up teaming with Lavitz01, aka the artist formerly known as Milkman, aka the artist formerly known as Joji, and they got 3rd here. But of course, the battle for gold in GOML X dubs would go down to the 2 current active top teams, as well as the 2 teams who met in GOML 2023 Grand Finals, Axe and Amsa versus Cody and Jmook. Axe and Amsa did win last year and were looking to defend their title, and they only needed a single set to do so, as they had beaten Cody and Jmook in winners finals to make it into grands on the winner's side. With an extra game of buffer, Axe and Amsa channeled the power of friendship and took home one of the more hyped doubles brackets I've seen in a hot minute with a 3-1 set win.
This could mean anything. A back throw, an up air, a tilt. A fair is gonna.
This might be 2v1. This might be 2v1. It's
2v1
for Jmook. It's over.
Jmook is over.
Axe and Amsa, the 2-time Get On My Level doubles champions. What a win for this team, man.
Woo! That game was so close. Every match was tight. That was an insane finish, dude. The momentum swing, it looked like they were up so far up ahead, and then Jmook and Cody kind of just like snuck it from underneath.
And you know they're feeling it, right? They only needed 1 set, 3 games to take this.
Yeah,
and
wow.
they're putting in an argument for best doubles team in the world right now. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, H-box, plop.
Whew, okay, I think that was enough time to catch a breath. So let's recap quickly. Cody and Amsa are out of the tournament, Zayn almost lost before top 8, and the rest of the top 8 didn't slot in all that quietly either. For our top 8 lineup, we had a Canadian team kill in Sunsei versus Moki in winners, alongside Jmook and Mango facing off for the 3rd time this year, while losers featured that Puff Ditto I mentioned earlier of Hungrybox versus SDJ and Aklo versus Zayn to round it out. SDJ and Toussaint had played the round before in a Puff Mirror to make it to Hungrybox, who was sent to losers by Moki after a close 3-2 set. And honestly, this set turned out to be one of the most exciting and tense matches of the entire weekend. It started off with Hungrybox getting, well, completely bodied for the first 2 games, but in a battle of positioning, pattern recognition, and endurance on the big stage, Hungrybox slowly but surely clawed his way back into the set and forced a Game 5. There is a reason why we used to, and still do, call Hungrybox the clutch box, and he showed it off here magnificently, bringing it down to final game, final stock, and 1 final bear to lead to the most insane pop-off in Melee to date.
Better end of that exchange. Does he call out the recovery? No. SDJ finds left. Forward throw.
Living just barely. Oh, that was so scary.
So close.
Oh my God, that bear. No, the get him attack.
No way. No way.
The riskiest pound ever.
Oh my God.
Spacing around it. Is that going to do it?
No, it's not. You need to find an aerial now. SDJ's just drifting in. H-Box doesn't want to risk it.
Oh my gosh. The pop-off we are about to 1 minute. That's it. And there it is. Oh, the chance. No!
Oh my God.
I called it, guys. What the hell? Not again. For the second one.
He's not going to do it.
But he
He's not gonna
reconsiders.
do it. But you thought about it for a second. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Hungrybox is done with the reverse 3-0. SDJ out of the tournament in 7th place.
This man really said, get on my level, okay? He said, get on my freaking level.
Now, you would think after a pulse-pounding set such as that and a matchup that many consider to be a snooze fest, that H-Box would take this momentum and use it to win the entire tournament. But no, he was stopped in the next round by Mango, who himself was sent to losers after burning out against Jmook. In their winner set, Mango started off fiery hot with 2 quick games, and we got to watch Game 2 with an over-the-shoulder camera shot courtesy of a little bit of a broadcast issue. This issue unfortunately resulted in a bit of downtime before Game 3 though, and Jmook was able to stay very composed to complete a reverse 3-0 and advance to winners finals of GOML X. As for the other side of winners top 8, Canada had to face off for a spot against Jmook. Moki is a player the Melee community has discussed extensively as certainly next up when it comes to taking home a major win. He had Canada at his back at last year's GOML as he marched his way into a bronze medal, and his path at this one was looking even better, with Zayn sitting in losers as the only player in the top 10 who still remained undefeated against him. Playing opposite Moki though, and also representing Canada, was Sunsei, 2023's ranked 23, who had just nabbed his 4th major top 8 in his career.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Sunsei had started to get a bit of a reputation as a Fox Ditto master, having reverse 3-0'd Cody Schwab at Battle of BC 6 just about a month earlier, and he had also taken a 3-2 win over Moki at the Battle of BC before that in 2023. He took that reputation and ran with it, cleanly 3-1ing Moki and sending him into a fated losers bracket encounter with Zayn, where Moki would ultimately exit GOML at 5th place.
We kid. It has to be one more again, though. Straight angle will seal the deal. Sunsei, representing Alberta, moving forward
into winners finals of Get On My Level.
Zayn would be the ender of both Canadians here though, running into Sunsei in losers finals and taking him out with a 3-1 as well. But Sunsei's career-high 5th place was shattered here with a 3rd, tying Moki's highest GOML placement and putting him on the map as another Canadian knocking on the door of the top 10. Before Sunsei was put to bed by Zayn though, he was taken out of winners finals by a surging Jmook, a player who a year ago looked like he could end 2023 at number 1, but has admittedly faltered a bit more recently. This performance from Jmook was a confirmation that his meteoric rise was not lightning in a bottle, and that he was right where he needed to be, but he still had one more challenge ahead of him in order to get on the board as a GOML champion. Zayn, while falling out to Jmook in winners before top 8, would fight a gauntlet of Fox players in Aklo, Mango, and Sunsei to make it into grands on the loser's side, and a question arose on if Zayn could bolster his stats as a losers bracket player, as his only major wins from losers have come from a grand finals against Jmook specifically. These two players were about as even as you could get at the highest level, going 4-4 in sets in 2022, 4-3 Jmook favored in 2023, and 2-2 if you're counting their winners bracket match at GOML X up until this very grand finals. They played in February of this year at Full Bloom 2024, where, similar to GOML, Jmook won their winners set 3-2. This grand final showcased some of the highest profile Marth Sheik the game has ever known, and it would play out in exact parallel to Full Bloom. Zayn would clutch out a 3-2 set to reset the bracket, Jmook would take game 1 of the second set, and Zayn would run away with the next 3 to win the tournament. In both cases, we unfortunately did not get to see the ultra rare game 15, but just watching these two play just further proved the new generation of Melee we found ourselves in. With this win, Zayn defended his title and joined Mango, Leffen, and technically None in becoming a 2-time GOML champion.
Zayn is playing with such ferocity right now. Okay, catching the, I think caught the jump too.
Okay.
Ooh, no punish there from Jmook off the grab.
Oh.
The
Okay.
smash.
Living. You do it.
B.
Okay.
B.
Just keeping it safe. Just wants to refresh invincibility or refresh it over and over again.
He doesn't want to deal with the ops tech.
Yeah. And I think with this many stocks, you have the ability to just play with it a little bit. Take the easier option.
That's
and
it.
that's it.
Wow.
Zayn.
With
Another
a
one.
crazy losers run.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. The back-to-back GOML champion. One in 2023, one GOML X. That's his
Congratulations.
4th major win for this year for Zayn.
Hey,
Wow. He took last year as
spot.
motivation
That's right.
and has stepped it up in every way imaginable, making losers runs, keeping it locked in
Yeah.
throughout like multiple sets, beating the person who beat him in winners in 2 sets. To do it, holds up the trophy. Congrats to Zayn.
Congrats to Zayn.
Top 2 and I'm not 2.
Yeah.
I think it's time, my friend. It's always love,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Good
Congratulations
luck to,
again.
all
Thank you,
your
thank you.
endeavors. Obviously, Vish,
That
my
was a lot of
man.
fun. That was a lot of fun.
It's been a while since we like hopped on the mic together.
I love it. That was fun.
Obviously, everybody in Toronto, man, thank you for having us. We love you. I don't know if they can hear us, but y'all are amazing. Canada's amazing. The stream, everybody that helped, Devin, his whole team, your House 3K, Even Matchup Gaming, T.O. Joe, Max working hard, everybody here, man. It's always a great time. Until next time, I don't know when the next GOML will be, sometime in May possibly, but we'll see you here, man.
We'll be there.
The reason this tournament series is so special is because it's representative of our community's growth. In 2014, a young tournament organizer was given a shot by Major League Gaming to put Canada on the map in a big way for competitive Melee. He took it, and with the help of some good friends, carefully crafted that chance into the most popular event series in the country. GOML has now become ubiquitous with the culture of Smash Bros, fighting games, and a passionate community who has stuck around to watch this build into itself from the ground up. And after celebrating a decade of greatness, 10 years of memories, and the blood, sweat, and tears put in to make it this far, the motto has always remained the same. Get on my level. The sky is the limit, and we'll see you next year.
At the end of the day, bro, like, I fucking love this game. I fucking love this community, and I hope that, you know, if I can even inspire one person, and you know, if GOML can be their first event and can, you know, be the proper introduction to get them into the scene and hook them into the scene and see how beautiful it is, like, that's what it's fucking all about.
Alright, I've been on a long video kick, I guess, but I had a lot of fun with this one. Joe's actually been a pretty long time homie of mine, and for those who may not know, I was helping with videos for the EMG team back in like 2017, so I was really happy to be able to shed a little bit of spotlight on a tournament series that really deserves it. I hope you liked it too. I'm planning on doing this for Tipped Off next month, but I think we'll go back to episode 2 of Melee's Greatest Hits first, and then I have a couple other fun projects in pre-planning, so if you like what I've been doing this year, let me know. Once again, this took a while to make and cost me a good bit of time and money, so if you want to support me and you most importantly have the disposable income to do so, you can join up on my Patreon over at the link in my description. Thank you again to my top tier patrons who are funding videos like these, including Avishua Bobby Wasabi, Erica's Cool, Nick Macaman, and NNG Esports. Thanks again, guys.